Well, let's get on with the rest of the show. South Africa's Electricity Minister, Kugosi Ramakopa, is excited about the progress being made in the power sector, resulting in 40 days of no load shedding, which has taken the country's energy availability factor to more than 60%. Here is the minister providing updates on this and the new energy action plan at his daily briefing held earlier today.
It will be characterized by transparency, candidness, and robustness. So this is in keeping with the promise that we have made. I also want to really say that we have seen an exceptional run of no load shedding for a considerable period of time. I think today marks 40 days without interruption of power supply. And I really want to pause here and just express my most sincere appreciation on behalf of the people of the country for the work that they are doing, the diligent commitment, ensuring that they do everything possible to address the challenge of load shedding. Of course, an argument can be made that this is what is expected of them. Yes, it is expected of them, but I'm sure you know that we're moving from an exceptionally difficult situation. And a lot of pundits had suggested that the kind of run that we're experiencing will not be possible in the current calendar year. It's something that can only be experienced in starting 2025. But as a result of the work that the team has done, some of which I'll be sharing with you, we are beginning to see the kind of improvements that we are seeing. And then the other part to make is Eskom delivered to the country the winter outlook, as is the custom. Eskom does on 2 occasions in a year, do what they call the summer outlook and also do what they call the winter outlook. Essentially generating 3 scenarios that they project going into the future. The first scenario is an optimistic scenario. Then there's a likely or plausible scenario, or if you like, the middle scenario and the worst case scenario. They delivered this winter plan on the 26th of April and generated a number of scenarios. The biggest takeaway for me out of that the winter outlook is a confirmation that there's a structural improvement in relation to generation in the country. What do I mean by that? If you are to juxtapose or compare the winter outlook of 2023 vis-a-vis the winter outlook of 2024 as presented by Eskom on the 26th of April, the one thing that sticks out for me is the following, is that the base case scenario of 2023 suggested that if we lose the total capacity of about 15,000 megawatts, so what we call the unplanned capacity loss factor, which talks to 2 key variables really, about the reliability of the units and also the efficiency of the units. In 2023, that base case scenario assumed that we're going to lose about 15,000 megawatts. Fast forward a year later, Eskom is generating a winter outlook, but now they've recalibrated the base case scenario. And that base case scenario is that is 14,000 megawatts. So essentially Eskom, by its own admission, accepts that the kind of improvement that we've seen is so enduring that we can say to the country that we have clawed back 1,000 megawatts compared to the same period the previous calendar year. So that's the first structural change. And the second structural change has to do with, if you like, your PMPs. So of course, as a result of the aggressive rollout of solar PV by both industry and the households, on the back of incentives provided for by National Treasury, the kind of reforms that have been introduced, you are seeing that there's greater numbers of households and industry that are taking up the opportunity to roll out solar PV behind the meter interventions. And of course, we can say part of it is triggered by the unreliability of the grid. You are exceptionally correct, but also a significant part of it is as a result of these incentives And of course, it helps us to ensure that the energy mix draws from a number of fuel sources. And you are likely going to see that your peak either tapers or is likely going to come down. I mean, if you compare apples to apples. So that's, for me, those are the key structural changes. And those structural changes, for me, communicates a very important message. What is that important message? Is that we are making strides in the delivery of the Energy Action Plan as unveiled by President Ramaphosa in July of 2022. I'm making this point because, as you can imagine, we're in the silly season. There's going to be a number of extrapolations, interpretations of what is before us, whether there's a correlation of this improvement to the elections.